0, 150 on your graph. Also put that point 550. So, it says here's a small swimming pool. Is it very small if it holds 150 gallons?
No.
I think it's quite big. Okay? So we got 0, 150. This is telling us how many gallons. So my y-intercept is what? If I'm looking at, raise your hand, don't blurt. Those of you blurters. You have it, don't you?
No.
Then don't raise your hand. Don't waste our time, okay? So y-intercept, if I'm looking at it, what do I have for my y-intercept? Okay.
0.
Well, at 0, when x is 0, Dustin, my y-intercept is 150 gallons. So when you take your state assessment, we're going to be looking for y-intercept. You could have told me 150 gallons. I would have also taken 0, 150, right? So that's my y-intercept. Remember, when we go to write this equation, it's going to be y equals mx plus b. This is going to be my slope, my rate of change. This is my y-intercept. We worked on this for about 3 months earlier this year. So the slope, the reason I wanted you to put the point 0, 150 is often when we think of slope, we think of the word rise over run. So how far are you going down from 150 to get to 50?
100.
So I'll have 100. I had some people tell me -4. On this test, the most common mistake is people said, oh, you're going down 1, 2, 3, 4. But you're actually, the rise is a negative 100 what? Gallons. So we lost 100 gallons in how much time? From 0 up to
7.5.
right here. 0 up to this point, which is 5. So 5, in this case, minutes, right? That's my rate. It's not a unit rate. Slope is a unit rate. Are you writing this down someplace? So putting this table is what we were looking at. Then in your notes, you're putting this table, this graph, and you're drawing that line and you're putting these points on it, right? So you have this. So when you get ready for state assessment next week and they say, oh, what's the equation of this line? Is this equation positive or negative slope? Goes down to the right, it's a negative slope. What did we get when we take a negative 100 and we divide it by 5? Negative 100 divided by 5 gives us negative 20 over 1. That's 20 gallons in 1 minute. So if I'm writing my equation, Elizabeth, you ready? Y equals what?
Y equals,
What was our slope?
our slope is 20.
Positive 20, negative. So negative 20, x, and then Katie, plus my y-intercept of 150. So on the state assessment, they might say, oh, you have this equation. What does the negative 20 mean? And you want to say, the pool is losing 20 gallons of water per minute. What's the 150 mean? Oh, we started at 150 gallons, right? So negative slopes go down to the right, positive slopes go up to the right when you are looking at those. So keeping that in mind as we start getting ready for our state assessment. On your H9, so our test is Friday of this week, or Thursday of this week, we don't have school Friday. On Thursday of this week, so H9, we're supposed to have that done. As you look at H9, questions that I could answer on H9 at all. So you had the answers. One of the things I need to definitely see when I look at your paper is 1 and 2 have to have segments over the top, and 3 and 4 have to have that angle symbol. And someone asked me, well, can I just say angle K? And the reason you can't is that when we are looking at it, we want to have those 3 letters. Those are the, K is the vertex of our angle, but the other ones. Where it says answers may vary, and you're going to see that a lot in your homework tonight, the answers, because there is more than one way. Just like when you did that golf on Desmos, student Desmos, when you did that golf, some of you did it in many steps. And so when you do these and you're looking at ways that they are similar or congruent, there's going to be more than one answer, okay? There's going to be more than one way to do it. Hopefully, you're going to do it in a quick enough way to finish it and take the test, right? Because we're going to have our test Thursday. So, as you look at this part of the worksheet, questions on finding any of those answers up here. If it's congruent or similar, congruent is when you rotate, reflect, or translate. Similar is when we do a dilation. We resize it when we dilate. Okay? So anytime we're dilating, we're going to have similar. So I want you to number these figures as 1, 2, and 3 right now. So number them. We're on page 27. Number them 1, 2, 3. As I look at those on 1, 2, 3, how do I get from 1 to 2? What does it look like I have to do? Reflect. So in your homework tonight, you're going to have to be a little more specific than this, than just reflecting. And we're actually reflecting over the x-axis. And if I do that, it gives me right on top of this. And now how do I get from 2 to 3? So from 1 to 2, we did a reflecting over the x-axis. To get from 2 to 3, what does it look like we have to do? Again, we're going to translate it. How are you going to translate it? And this is where I'll be a little more how you're looking at this, so for how you write it. So translate it, we are moving it how? To the right, how far? So we're moving it to the right, and then we're moving it down. How far to the right? 6 to the right, and down. Down 3. And I will take it like that. Translate to the right 6 and down 3. Some of you like using the rule that they always give us, and you'll do x plus 6, y minus 3. But I would take this also instead of this part. Okay? Let's take a look at that next one. As you are looking at this, first off, congruent or similar as we look at it, Bert. Do they look like the same size and shape, or do they get bigger or smaller? They look the same. So the first thing you're going to do on the test for these kind of questions, there'll be 2 of them on our test, you have to write the congruence statement. So you need to say A, B, C, D. Since they're congruent, that's the equal with a squiggle over it, whereas similar, so congruent is the equal with the squiggly line over it, kind of like approximately, and similar is just that squiggly line, kind of. So A, B, C, D, what does A match up to as I'm looking at it, Ashley? A would be the same as what on this other figure? F. So if I go from A to B, I'm going to go F to I, and then H, and then G. So the first thing, you always have to write a congruent statement, and then you got to explain how we're getting there. So Abby, if we're taking a look at it, and I noticed that this AD is on the bottom, and now it's on the top, so that's like doing what kind of a turn? How many degrees could I rotate it or turn it? So that it's on the bottom, and now it's on the top. 90. Would that work? No. Is 90 going to either turn it this way, or it's going to turn it this way? I said 270. How much? 270, yeah, but 270 is either going to turn it, depending on your 270, it's going to turn it to the sideways. What's the one that flips it totally over? 180. So I will have someone tell me 180, and then I'll have someone who likes to do many steps, and they'll say, reflect it over the x and reflect it over the y. That's a lot more work, right? Whereas if I state, and when you do this, you have to tell me what you're starting with. So if we're starting with this one, we are going to say rotate A, B, C, D, 180 degrees. Now when I wrote that, take that 180 degrees, for those of you that like more steps, you could do this in more steps. You could say, I'm going to reflect it over here, and then I'm going to reflect it again. But if I look at where point B is located over at -3, 1. And if I'm going to rotate it 180 degrees, Elena, we take the opposite of each of those, and that would give us 3 and -1. So this would be my new B prime, right? So now I'm going to look at C prime. So Kaylee, I'm looking at C. C is located where? -2, 0. I don't need to do all the points, but I need to do a few of them. So where's C prime going to be? It's going to be at 2, 0, right? So at this point, this is my A, this is C. I don't maybe have to do all of them, but Mia, let's do point A to help us out. A was at -4, -1, so now it's gonna move to 4, 1. So there's my A, right? And D would have been like here, okay? So that's my 180. I don't have to draw all of it, but now I want to get it on top of that other figure. So what has to happen to where this point, like A prime is, to get it up to F? Up how high? Up 3. And so if you always kind of draw at least a couple of the points, that's going to help you. So up 3 and we want to be more specific than over. We want to say to the left. So if you tell me move it 1, I'm not going to know which way. So make sure you go left or right when you're doing that, okay? So then move it left or right 1. And again, if you like to write this rule this way, I would always take it. Where you went X -1, right? And Y +3. But it's okay if you do it like this on the test on Thursday. I would take that, okay? So turn to the next, taking a look at that next one on the top of the next page. This one, as we take a look at it, you should, if we are looking at this, it's going to take us a couple of steps. So similar or congruent as we take a look at it. What do you think, Emily? Congruent. So we're going to start with, if we start with J, K, L, M, it is going to be congruent to what should be the letters that I need to put down where J is and K, right? J, K is kind of the same as where our T and U are. So T, U, R, S. Someone said, why don't we have the line over the top? Because we're not talking about segments, we're talking about a polygon. So we don't put the segments on top like we did in the homework for today. So anyone picture which way we might be wanting to start moving this? So is when we go our counterclockwise, or it's going to be -90, which is going clockwise. Okay? Which way do you think we want to move this? Do we want to move it clockwise, or do we want to move it counterclockwise as we look at it?
Second one.
If I move it up here, is it going to look pretty close to this one?
No.
If I think of turning this small segment 90 degrees, so I'm going to look at where K is. K is located at -2, -1. If I am going 90 clockwise, that means it's changing to Y opposite X. So if I had -2, -1, the new point is going to be -1 and up 2. This is where J prime is going to be. If I'm looking at where, K prime, excuse me. That's where my K prime is going to be. J was over here at -3, 1. Well, that means it's going to be at 1, 3. It's going to be right above that, right? That's my J prime. L is 0, -4. I might not need to grasp that one, but where is it going to change to? It's going to change to -4 right here. So once I have those 3, do I need to graph the last one to see how I'm going to turn it or what I'm going to do next? For some of you, it helps you. You like to have all of those points, so you want to have this point M, which is like located here. Some of you love to put that in, right? Do you have to put it in? No. I now am going to do what? So when we write our rule, we're going to say we are going to rotate J, K, L, M on -90 degrees. And for a lot of you, if you want to put that clockwise with it, write the word clockwise down. If you remember, oh yeah, I turned it the same way as the clock is going. You can do that. The key thing is -90 or +90. And then, as I am looking at this picture, what does it look like, Fauna? I have to do next to move this so that it's right on top of that point. So then I'm going to translate it, and how far would you translate? Translate 5 to the right. 5 units to the right. Are there other ways of doing this? Yes. Some people will do this. They will start with this picture. if they start with this picture, what they'll do first is they might rotate it counterclockwise and then slide it this way. Would that be an okay answer? Would I count that correct on the test? Definitely. But that's when you start with this one, when this is your original, and you go here and you end up here. So it's really important on the quiz or on the test on Thursday that you tell me which one you're starting with. Because if you tell me the wrong one that you're starting with, if you told me you were starting with TURS, and you said -90, and -90 puts it down here, right? And you really meant to do a +90. So there's way more than one answer when you look at all of these. I want you to look at this one. This is a one-stepper. I want you to think about the point is at 1, 1 for O, and H is at 3, 3. P is located at 2, 1. I is located at 6, 3. And I want you to think about what is that here to go small to big, then big to small. So we're going to go to the small one. NOP is similar to triangle JHI. So if I'm looking at that one, how much bigger? 3 times bigger, right?
Yeah.
So if we are looking at that, just by looking at that point, 1, 1 to 3, 3, 2, 1 to 6, 3. So we are going to say they are similar, and we are going to use a dilation. We're going to dilate triangle NOP by a scale factor of 3. Does it get on top of it? And a lot of times for that scale factor, that's when they put K equals 3. Bless you. That's when they put K equals 3. Because remember when you do a dilation, what you're doing, the rule says, is you're taking the XY point and you're taking it K times the X and K times the Y as you look at that. So, does it match right on top of it? The only way you do it differently is if you started with this one and you said to take it times 1/3. That's the only 2 options for that one, okay? Take a look at that next one. This half of the room, you are going to start with, everyone's going to start with triangle ABC. And on the one side of the room, we are going to do a positive 90 degrees. So those of you from this half over, you're going to do a positive 90 for your first step. Positive 90 means, am I going clockwise or counter? Counterclockwise, right? We're going this way, okay? So you guys are going to turn yours and we're going to go down here, right? On the other half of the room, we're going to go negative 90 first. So this half of the room, I want you to go negative 90. Negative 90 means we are going clockwise, right? So the people in the blue, you are going to be turning it this way. The people going positive 90 are going to start with this one and change it this way, okay? We're going to do it both ways because I want you to see. So on your own paper, I want you to do, if I told you to do positive 90 or negative 90, I want you to just plot that like that would have been yesterday's quiz, right? Just plot, where does that look like it's going? Where A is located, A was located at negative 1, 2. So negative 1, 2, if I'm going in this direction, someone want to tell me where it should be located? Should be aimed at
2, 1.
Should be at negative 2, right? So if we were looking at, so this was, when we switch it around, right?
Positive 2.
Okay, so it was negative 1, positive 2, right? So when you switch the order, that makes it a negative y, comma, x, right? Having my arrow goes towards the first one. So the y changes to the opposite, so negative 2, and then it's still going to be negative 1. This is going to be my A prime for you, correct?
Oh, I need negative
Right.
90.
Right. So we're doing positive 90 first, right? Aren't we doing positive 90? Okay. Someone else over here want to tell me, where's my B prime going to be? Kaylee, got it? Negative 4, negative 1. Now, I have these 2 points. I maybe don't need to do the C because I notice this is 2 and this is 3 here. So I just kind of get like that. And now what do I have to do, Kaylee? After we went positive 90, then what do we have to do to match it up? Translate it how? I'm just going to translate it over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Then translate to the right 6. Now, could you write that as a rule with the xy? Sure, but I think most of you are generally going to go with x plus 6y. You're probably going to go with just translate right. This half of the room, rotate negative 90, right? That was in blue. Once you rotated negative 90, this is where, Aiden, we are going to end up with what? So it's the y and the opposite of that. So it's going to be at 2, 2, 1. So this is my A prime, okay, when I go this way. Which, now B prime is just going to be behind that, right? This is B prime. And C prime is up here. So after I rotated negative 90, this time, to finish it off, I would have to do what? Then reflect over the x. So, both of these are correct. And when you look at yours in the back, if you do yours differently than how they do it in the back, that's okay. It can be, yeah.
I have a question for C. Isn't it supposed to be
Yeah. This way. So then it's not translating it to the right. Ooh, good catch. So this one, good job. This one should be what? Do you see how easy it is to make some of those mistakes and by putting it on the wrong side? And so now we do want to reflect over the y. Sometimes I'll have some people reflect it first. Would that matter? No. So there are like so many different ways of getting these correct. So just when you do it in the back, make sure that yours kind of makes sense. And just like me, when you make a mistake, you just got to correct it as you're looking at it. All right, let's look at, we got 2 left to go, right? No, this is our last one. So as we look at this last one, Andy, if we're starting small, similar, congruent. Congruent. Wait, are they the same size?
Oh, similar.
Yes, definitely similar. So our notation for similar versus our notation for congruent. So we are going to start with, since we're going to start with the small one, triangle Q to R to S, similar to triangle. So R is at 2, 1. Q is at 3, negative 2, 1. Negative 3, 2. T is at negative 4, negative 2. U is at negative 6, negative 4. Can we figure out a size change from that? Just looking at those ordered pairs. What do you think, Angel? Size change of what? Size change of 2, right? Now, if you started with the bigger one, you would have told me a size change scale of 1/2, right? So if you go big to small, okay? So we are looking at QRS. So QRS is going to be with UTV. Angel said that we are going to dilate triangle QRS with a scale factor 2. If we started with a scale factor of 2, I'm going to look at where are my new points. So negative 2, 1 is now going to be at negative 4, 2, right? So negative 4, 2, that is my R prime. Q prime was at negative 3, 2, it's now going to be negative 6 and 4. Does it look like we're going to be able to reflect it right over again and it's going to match up exactly? So I don't even have to do S. By the way, S is how you get to graphing 1, 2 1/2, right? Some of you on the quiz yesterday thought you couldn't graph halves or decimals. You can. 2 1/2 is up halfway between 2 and 3 when you got that. So after we've dilated this with the scale factor 2, then we are going to reflect over the x-axis. And it should be an exact match, okay? A lot of yours in your homework are going to look similar to this. There's many ways of doing it. So on I-10, you do need to do all of I-10 to take the test on Thursday. There are 2 pages of it. I would concentrate on I-10 before going back to I-9 if you haven't done that.